Hello, it's 6 o'clock GMT. You are listening to the Star Breakfast News. Coming up this morning, government assures residents impacted by dualization of Kaswa Winneba Road project of compensation as members of Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament embark on fact-finding visits to construction sites. Also coming up, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana urges Trade Minister to bring cement manufacturers to table instead of attempting to strong-arm them to reduce cement prices. Later, Dean of the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College describes as ridiculous calls for a Kenyan-like protest in Ghana. Details are coming up shortly, but first, let's remind you of our affiliate stations across the country.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Star News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
I am Nurein Abass. Many thanks for tuning in. Now, government has assured residents whose properties were affected by the ongoing dualization of the Kaswa Winneba stretch of the Accra Cape Coast Highway of compensation. Traditional leaders in the affected communities had lamented delay in payment of compensations during a visit by the Minority Caucus of the Roads and Transport Committee. But addressing the media during a visit by members of the committee to the site of the project, CEO of the Ghana Highway Authority, Collins Donko, and the Chief Director of the Ministry for Roads and Highways, Engineer Daniel Alhadi Abbas Mohammed Awolu, disclosed, though some compensations were paid in 2006, an assessment will be done to ensure everyone with legitimate claim is paid.
There is unsafe pedestrian crossing, which is a real worry. There is therefore low overall capacity, and this is by reason of mixed traffic. We have the trotro type, short commuter type traffic mixed with long haul, long distance travelers, and this together with crossing streams of traffic creates capacity problems. The road therefore cannot pass as much traffic per hour as it should. There is also the high threat of head-on collision because the existing road is a two-lane, one stream going, the other stream coming, with no separator in between. So the propensity for head-on collision is high.
The committee also visited the Otreko Bridge, which recently got the entire community flooded as a result of the project. Manager Stephen Teria sought assistance of the Ghana Highway Authority in order to create enough diversion for the water.
We created a diversion, but then we realized that the capacity of the diversion, that is the existing relief culvert, is way too low compared to the existing. So we had to open it up for the water to flow through the existing bridge, whilst we make another arrangement for a bigger capacity diversion. So we are in talks with the bridge maintenance unit to provide us with a Bailey bridge to help us with the diversion so that we can resume the construction of the deep foundations. Because currently, this is the piling rake that was involved in the construction of the piles, but because of the flooding and because of the fact that we can't close it, it's been sitting idle for over 2 weeks, and he's not happy with that. He wants to move the machine. So we are pushing for the bridge maintenance unit to provide us with a Bailey bridge so that we can resume work.
Away from that, the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana is urging Trade Minister K.T. Hammond to bring cement manufacturers to the table for negotiations instead of attempting to strong-arm them to reduce cement prices. The minister is proposing a legislative instrument seeking to control soaring prices of cement in Ghana to ensure that sanity prevails in the market. But the Importers and Exporters Association believes that the proposed legislative instrument fails to address the complex issues driving the escalation of cement prices. Executive Secretary of the association, Samson Asaki Awingobet, says any attempts to impose restrictions are dead on arrival.
The minister is to help industry grow, not to scramble industries, not to put unduly disadvantages to disenfranchised investors in this country. I don't think that is the way to go. And again, the minister knows very well that the Minister of Trade have signed an agreement with the WTO. And so when you want to impose certain bills and laws like that, you need to engage the key stakeholders. And so the minister cannot say, I take a phone or I have called that they should reduce prices. That's not the way. Did he bother to even sit with the people to understand the cost that they're incurring anytime they bring their products to the port, anytime they are producing at their manufacturing, at their factory levels? What are some of the costs that they incur, and what is the government doing to meet them halfway? At least meet them halfway, do something about for them, and say, look, government has done A, B, C, D, and we strongly believe that having benefiting all these things from government, you also need to give back to society by reducing your prices. That is the best way to go.
You had the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, Samson Asaki Awingobet. Now, the Dean of the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Professor Vladimir Entry Danso, has described as ridiculous calls for a Kenyan-like protest in Ghana to demand accountability from government. The Kenyan protest led to the death of at least 23 people as the youth resisted the passage of the finance bill. Despite heavy criticisms by security experts, the Member of Parliament for North Tong Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa and some MPs are calling for a similar protest in Ghana to demand accountability from government. Professor Vladimir Entry Danson, however, describes the calls as ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous in the sense that the very fact that something is happening in another country doesn't mean that you conjure similar things. Because the causal things that created a condition for that effect, if they are not similar or if they don't exist, you cannot just call on people just to get up and just riot the way they rioted. Does that same call also call on the police to just beat people and kill 25 people? I strongly suspect that if a similar situation happens in Ghana, Ghanaians would know how to respond, because the ecology of our political economy is not the same thing as the Kenyans. What we have in common is the very fact that IMF, World Bank are patrolling our economies. IMF, World Bank are making sure that our dual gap syndrome is perpetrated one way or the other. We export less and import more, and therefore we are a consumptive economy. Secondly, the budget gap, where our revenues cannot take us to do our development. And so there are two gaps. We call it the dual gap. And it's a pervasive syndrome. That's one we have in common with Kenya. But it doesn't mean that our responses will be the same.
Meanwhile, Minister of Trades and Industry and MP for Adanse Asokwa, Kwabena Tahir Hammond, has also described calls for similar protests as worrying.
This guy decided to go to Kenya. They don't tell me, even though I'm the senior prophet in the house. They don't tell me. I'm just asking him what happened. You should have been there to hear the account that he gave me in the waiting room. And that's why sometimes I wonder when I hear some of our people talk about the youth not being angry enough and all sort of things that they talk about. I get worried for those of you who were either too young or were not born before 1979. I really think that you should be reading and studying the history of Ghana to understand what happened during the particular period that we talk about. This whole business, we're not angry enough. We're not angry enough. All right, destroy everything. There is hardship in the system. It's not disputed. So what? Destroy, add to the hardship, and come back to build? What's going on? We're there.
You heard the Minister of Trade and Industry and MP for Adanse Asokwa, Kwabena Tahir Hammond. Now, the Ghana Police Service has arrested one person for robbery, which occurred at about 1 a.m. on 27th June at Ahojo in Shaiso in the Ashanti region, resulting in the death of a police officer. It said that an intelligent operation is underway to get the remaining suspects arrested to face justice. We'll bring you more on this development in subsequent bulletins. And on that note, we end the Star Breakfast News this morning. But when you log on to starfm.com.gh, you'll find more news updates there. I am Nurein Abass. Many thanks for your company.